At the Christmas party, my 9-year-old nephew poured soda on my laptop and gave me the middle finger. Even after I showed the camera footage, my brother and sister-in-law defended him. The next morning, my dad taught them a lesson they will never forget. I was in the middle of fixing a critical work issue when I heard it, the fizzing sound of soda hitting my keyboard. I looked up to see my nephew Levi standing over my Dell XPS, an empty Coke can in his hand, grinning as he watched the liquid seep between the keys. The screen flickered once, then went black. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted. Levi stared at me. No guilt, no fear. He stuck out his tongue, raised his middle finger, and walked out of my office like he owned the place. He was 9 years old. My brother Michael and his wife Andrea had moved back from overseas 3 months ago, staying at our dad's house temporarily after a failed business venture. Their son Levi had no boundaries. Every time I told him my office was off limits, Andrea would laugh and say, "Don't be so serious, Uncle William. He's just energetic." I walked downstairs, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Levi needs to apologize for what he just did." He hid behind Andrea. "I didn't do anything wrong." I explained what happened. The soda, the middle finger, everything. Andrea frowned, her voice sharp. "You're saying Levi did that? I don't believe it." Michael just stared at me, silent. I pulled out my phone and showed them the security footage from my office. Crystal clear. Levi pouring soda, sticking out his tongue, flipping me off. Andrea watched it, her face flickering with discomfort, then shrugged. "He probably picked that up somewhere. It was just an accident." Michael leaned back. "Don't make a big deal out of this. You're the adult here." That's when I lost it. "That's what you call an accident? You saw the video? Are you all blind?" The room went silent. My dad, sitting at the end of the table, said nothing, but his jaw was tight. Michael slammed his hand on the table. "What the hell did you just say, William? Levi would never do that." Before I could respond, my dad's voice cut through. "Everyone, sit down, now!" The room froze. Dad stood up, looked at Levi, and said firmly, "Levi, what you did was wrong. Apologize to your Uncle William." Levi said nothing. Andrea leaned down and whispered, "It's okay, sweetheart. We're right here." Dad's hands curled into fists. The next morning, Dad called everyone into the living room before breakfast. The tension from last night still hung in the air like smoke. Levi sat on the couch, glued to his mom's iPhone 16 Pro Max, completely unbothered by what he'd done. Dad walked over to him, snatched the phone from his hands without warning, and dropped it straight into a mug of steaming hot tea. The phone sank with a harsh, crackling pop. Andrea jumped up. "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Before Michael could say a word, Dad turned to me and gave a slight nod. I stepped forward, looked my brother straight in the eye, and raised my middle finger. Cold, direct, unwavering. Andrea shrieked, "William, what the hell is wrong with you?" Michael froze, face pale. Levi shrank into the couch, eyes wide for the first time. Dad stepped into the center. "How does that feel?" "That feeling is precisely what William had to carry last night." Andrea pulled the ruined phone from the tea, hands shaking. "Dad, that phone costs over $1,500. That's my property." Dad's voice was calm, but sharp. "And William's laptop was just trash?" She froze. "I'll call the police." "Then go ahead," Dad said. "And while you're at it, tell them what your kid did to William." The room went dead silent. That night at dinner, Michael finally spoke, his voice heavy with exhaustion. "I think it's time to take him somewhere that can help him start over." Dad nodded. "A behavioral program. William, contact them for me." On Saturday, we drove Levi to the camp. He screamed for his mom the whole way, begging us to turn around. Michael gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. When the gate closed behind Levi, I didn't feel relieved, just empty. It wasn't punishment, it was structure, something he never had. 1 year later, everything changed. Michael and Andrea opened a small deli. They stopped making excuses and started listening. Levi sent me a handwritten letter, half in English, half in broken German. "Sorry, Uncle William, I was wrong." Since then, no more defiance, no more ugly behavior. Every weekend, I bring him to my apartment. We play video games, eat fried chicken, and talk. He's still stubborn, but now he knows when to stop.